Greetings, YouTube. What I'm about to do is talk about a conspiracy theory that, if time proves it correct, will be the end of this YouTube channel as we know it and the end of the game as we know it. But I do remember a few years ago feeling this way, and then a few years after that feeling this way. And so this is like the third or fourth time I've felt this way. And each time, this game is like, it's like a zombie, you know? Or like, I don't know if any of you watched Dragon Ball Z growing up. I'm sure it's around still, though, you know, the new episodes came out like 20 years ago. At least the ones in Cartoon Network. I'm sure there's new episodes. I don't know past the Cell saga. But it's like you think the game is Super Saiyan, but then it goes like Super Saiyan 2 or Super Saiyan 3. All of this is to say, every time you think the game is dead, it not only comes back, but it comes back stronger than ever. It's like a crazy zombie, you know? So this video may age incredibly poorly, because for the people, and there have been many who have hit me up privately and in the comment section in the past 24 hours plus, there basically is this collective notion that we are seeing the beginning of the end of MCOC. Now, the first time that I heard that collective notion was patch 12.0. And it was so bad, for those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, the best champions in the game used to be like 5 4-star champions. It used to be a combination of the best champion in the game, OG Scarlet Witch, and Thor, and Doctor Strange, and OG Black Widow. Gosh, I miss them at their peak so much. And patch 12.0 nerfed them to the ground. And Doctor Strange is still, compared to what he was, nerfed to the ground. I guess OG Thor is to a certain extent. But see, it was like impossible, because to take a 4-star up to max rank, you need 3 tier 4 class catalysts, right? Now, we laugh at that, right? Because you can go to the daily special now, if you're Cavalier at least, and get a tier 4 class catalyst selector every day for $5. So it's $15 worth of daily specials for that item to take a 4-star to max rank to rank 5. But in 2015, in 2016, 6-7 years ago, there were no tier 4 class catalyst selectors. There were just tier 4 class catalysts. And it used to be a really big deal to get a Legends run in, because you got, what, a tier 4 class catalyst? Now it's like a joke. But back then, that was legitimately like incentive to get Legend status. Because you really wanted to take a 4-star to rank 5, but you of course needed 3 of the same class. And the algorithm to this day in 2022 is still the same algorithm, I'm convinced, that prevented so many players like myself. You could work months and months and months in the game and finally get a tier 4 class catalyst. And then, gosh, I needed a Mystic to take Scarlet Witch up. I needed it. I just needed 1 Mystic, and I was 0 for like the next 20 for the 1 Mystic, because the game just knew it's what I needed. And by the way, it took me 2 years to do those attempts. So, patch 12.0, people threatened to leave and stopped spending, and it worked. They gave out an initial compensation package with a half-hearted apology, realized they royally screwed up, gave out another apology, and then the game took on a life of its own, because we started as a community figuring out that when 5-star shards became a lot more easy to get, and 5-star champs started coming into the game that were new, especially Blade, that we could hoard 5-star shards and actually, for free, I don't want to say guarantee, because you could open 20 crystals and not get the champion, but you could have a high probability of, say, opening 150,000 5-star shards worth of featured 5-star crystals, when there was a featured 5-star crystal of 1 champion, and it was confirmed it was about a 20 to 25% drop rate for that champion, which is what we thought with data anyway. And you eventually got that champion. Well, Of course, Kabam hated that, and they changed the entire system of featured crystals up. And so instead of getting a 20 to 25% drop rate for that 5-star champion, you now have a 4.2% drop rate for that champion. And oh, by the way, instead of the 5-star featured crystal changing multiple times a month, we're going to have it change every 3+ months. That's the new system. That's now the old system, but it's still the current system. Well, I thought the game was going to be dead when that happened. And you know what they did? They said, hold my beer, because we're going to introduce Grand Master Crystals. And oh my gosh, 5 stars, which were so impossible to get, still had a really hard time getting them. But whales could suddenly spend thousands and get a 5-star. And that's how they did it now, because the old featured system was gone. So I thought the game was going to die during that point. Well, actually, it made way more money than ever. But then, right when we were going to figure out how to finally get materials for a rank 5-star at the end of Act 5, Kabam announced a moment that was so divisive that I thought the game was dead. The same month-ish that they announced that 5 stars could go to rank 5, we could finally take our Star Lords to rank 5, they announced that 6 stars were coming to the game. And I was real good friends. Haven't talked to him in years. Great dude. Hopefully I can reach out to him soon. But he was a prominent YouTuber. Some of you remember him, The Idolist. He contacted me and said, Prof, I'm done. I'm done. I'm not restarting my roster. And so he left. And a bunch of other people left. And I thought, okay, 6 stars are here. The game will be dead in 6 months. But then Kabam went progression level, and then eventually introduced the Cavalier Crystal. And, to their credit, through mostly Kabam Broccoli, they made some really incredible champions. We're talking about champs like Corvus, right? Champs like Ghost. Champs like Void. Eventually, champs all the way to the last year, right? And so the game got really popular. And then, oh, by the way, a global pandemic happened. And more people than ever before were at home and wanted something fun to do. And the game took advantage, especially in that first 6-month window from March 2020 and beyond. And made a bunch of money, right? So, first, the Tier 4 class Catalyst and Tier 4 Basic and Tier 1 Alpha resources, with also the help of the Glory Store, I should say, went to nothing. And patch 12.0 hit. We thought the game was going to be dead. And then it survived thanks to 5-star hoarding and hype. Then 5-star hoarding was canceled. Thought the game was going to be dead. 6 stars came. They introduced. A lot of people left. But then the gambling system took over. Now, with this new store, we have a fire sale, literally, for the top progression levels on 2 of the most valuable items in the game. Tier 2 Alpha, which you can now get 11 of them. And this would be crazy if this was like a 3-day sale, right? I would be losing my mind if this was a 3-day sale. But this is a weekly refresh sale that, oh, by the way, is not through the Black ISO store, which I'm thankful for because free-to-play players benefit the most. That was my takeaway when I saw this news yesterday afternoon. But it is weekly. So you can get 11 Tier 2 Alpha per week suddenly. And you can get 5 Tier 5 Basic suddenly per week, fully formed. For about $50 worth of units. The market on both these items is at the very bottom of the lake now. Ascendant Crystals? Are you kidding me? Those things were on a great value before this. But now, this actually makes, like, if somebody was to ask me, Prof, should I go do Alliance Quest for Glory or just do the Arena? If you can do the Arena, you're going to get way more Tier 2 Alpha and Tier 5 Basic over the course of a week or two in the Arena than you are in Alliance Quest now. Like, it's destroyed the Glory market. And so, it's natural for people to contact me and say, the sky is falling. What's going to happen is this is all setting up relics and eventually 7-star champions. I have no doubt that when they come into the game, people will leave. But Kabam has also done the super smart thing between the Black ISO store and daily specials of getting people used to spending like they are at Starbucks, $5 a day, $10 a day. And so I do think there's a certain human behavior that's been learned of microtransactions, like micro spending, that would be hard to walk away from. But Kabam wouldn't do this if they weren't preparing us for either 7-star champions, which would basically be, if you follow a 6-star champion at rank 1 is basically a 5-star champion at rank 4. So a 7-star champion at rank 1 is probably a 6-star champion at least rank 3. But I know they want to make Thronebreaker crystals into the game. It's crazy that we don't have them. But the only way that I think their algorithm will justify it, and I hope I'm wrong, is by taking out 3 stars and moving everything up 1 star. So suddenly, a 7-star Nexus would be, the 0.6%. Maybe a 6-star Nexus would be the 3%, right? And then a 6-star would be 19%. And a 5-star would be 31.5%. And a 4-star would be 40%. Remember, when 6 stars were introduced also, the best 2 champions by far, I think, were Angela, pre-buff, and Doc Ock. They would do like a safe pool of like average to above average champs, but not the best champions in the game. But of course, once they introduced Thronebreaker crystals, they would also introduce probably featured Thronebreaker crystals, which would give you a 0.6% chance for the new 7-star. And then everything would reset. I think they know that would be the death of the game. At least it would be like a coin flip. And so they're going to ease into it with a theory that I've covered on this channel, and I want to end this video by returning to it. And that's something they actually asked us about in a community SurveyMonkey poll weeks back. And that is, let's say that I want to make my 6-star Hercules even better. Well, what would happen if I was incentivized to max rank all the other Hercules? Well, first I have to acquire them first, and I have to awaken them. What if I max sigged and max ranked my 5-star Hercules, my 4-star Hercules, and my 3-star Hercules? Just those 3. Well, that might give me some bonus item to equip to Hercules that either gives him another ability or maybe acts like a permanent boost, right? Like a 10 to 15% boost of my health and my attack. Nothing that would break the game if you didn't have it, but it would be an incentive enough to not only go for this, because Hercules is kind of a weird example because he's been in the game for a while, but imagine if like the next Quicksilver is really the next Hercules. And then suddenly, it's not just about collecting the 6-star anymore. It's about collecting the 4-star through 6-star, the 3-star through 6-star, and max ranking them. That also gives you an incentive to rank up 3 and 4 stars for the first time for some of you in years, because it directly helps your 6-star. I do think that's a pretty genius idea, though it would still get people to quit, but it wouldn't be as polarizing as 7 stars. Speaking of which, to end this is like the first video I've done on this, but I want you all to think about ways that you would still care about this game, that they're going to move the game forward, and come up with suggestions. In the comments that get liked the most, I'm going to ask the polls on a live stream. And then the people who, I'm going to call them the brain trust of the community, they're going to be eligible for cash prizes, thanks to the continued sponsor of Evizone, which, as always, is a free file sharing system. And I think this time it's not going to be as many winners, but instead of $10, I think we're going to go all the way up to potentially $50 for each winner. So I really want this to be something that we can dive deeply in as a community, because this could be a huge breaking point in whether or not people play. So stay tuned for that. But this is longer than usual. I usually promise my videos will be around 5 minutes or less, and certainly not 10 minutes. This is about 15 minutes, but at the same time, there's a lot I wanted to say, and I didn't want to cut myself off or worry about the time so much. So this is more like a podcast for 15 minutes for those of you that like to listen to me in your car. Lord help your partners or spouses or pets. Thanks for watching. Have a good one. I look forward to doing a follow-up video on this and also reading your comments below on this video.